Hey, what's up, Comic Book Weekly fans? Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. And you can see that this week we are down to two. And I am Mike Spider Slayer. And today my co host is Brant Fowler.
That's right. Yeah, I am here, and unfortunately, Kat cannot be with us this week, but she will be back next week, and we'll keep rolling from there. But, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have a full show for you guys today. We definitely have a lot of news to talk about. We're going to get to the trailer, the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer.
Yeah.
And but we got a lot of other news. We want to get the audience on the show first before we discuss it, because I'm sure a lot of you guys have a lot of things to say about it. So when I saw it, I was like, oh wow, very interesting. But like I said, we'll get to that later. Brant, take it away on the news. We got a lot of other things to talk about before we kick that off.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna talk about the comic news first, and save that media news for later, so we can lead into that trailer, of course. So the first thing we're going to talk about is actually Spider-Man related, though. So Spider-Man Beyond brings back Morbius and Craven, and it's unclear whether this is the son of Craven or the original Craven. But either way, it's Ben Reilly having to deal with Craven and Morbius now, so bringing back some more of those classic villains for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was that one, the one with Morbius. I'm kind of
Yeah,
like, oh, it's Morbius. I'm like,
right.
man, I'm like, really? And then it goes to Craven the Hunter, and I think it's like a 2-issue arc. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I can deal with Craven the Hunter.
Yeah.
Um, I am really worried about this Amazing Spider-Man Beyond thing. I feel like it's going to be almost like just a bunch of throwaway stories in very many ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's another throwback to the '90s, right? With Ben Riley taking over Spider-Man, and you kind of playing up the nostalgia more. But I kind of agree with you. It's definitely going to be thrown away. They're going to, toss Ben Riley out in the on the grave again,
Yeah,
maybe after this. But I'm trying to be optimistic about it just because of the creators that are involved with this project. So
right.
yeah, I'm hoping it surprises us.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can't shoot something down before it even comes out, you know. It's
Yeah.
just I know we've seen the formula before when it's come to this situation, and it's very hard to be consistent. If these writers are on the same page, then maybe it could be something good and something different and maybe something fresh for readers. And don't forget, we get new readers that have gotten into comics, and there's a lot of readers that never read the Ben Reilly saga.
Yeah.
So for them, might be their first time being introduced to that character.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hopefully it's more positive than negative, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So the next thing we got to talk about is Kate Bishop. Hawkeye is getting a new comic series. Believe it's a mini series where she returns to New York City, leaving the West Coast behind. And of course, this is in preparation for the Marvel TV show that's going to be on Disney Plus. Makes sense to me that you would have a comic based on a character you have a show for, DC.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's actually about time that they try to line these things up, and
Yeah,
so it's very fitting. It only took them like the fourth, fifth show to do it, but
right.
I think it's very fitting, and I think people that want to know about Kate, again, that never read her in the comic books, I think this is the perfect opportunity to jump on board at that point.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of sad to see her leave the West Coast. I think she had a good thing going there, but it'll be interesting to see her back in the main world of superheroes, as we know that 90% of the superheroes reside in New York City. So
Yeah,
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 absolutely.
yeah,
We got some pretty
yeah.
big news here with Mike Manhattan. He says, "Hey, did you guys hear Jake Gyllenhaal is starring and producing Robert Kirkman's Oblivion song?"
Wow, I had not seen that actually.
Yeah, when did that news drop? Because I didn't hear anything about that. But that if that's the case, that's pretty good. And you know what? I can actually see him playing that main character. I kind of dropped off of Oblivion song. I'm not saying that it was a bad title. I just fell behind in it.
Yeah.
But I could actually see him playing that main character.
Yeah, this news dropped like 8 hours ago. It is on Deadline and several other sites I saw. That's pretty cool. I had not seen that at all, so that's really really neat. Same way with you, Mike. I kind of dropped off of it somewhere. I don't even remember exactly where, but
Right.
I could definitely see this as a movie. I mean, that makes perfect sense, and Jake Gyllenhaal being involved, that's just even better. So nice, thanks, Mike,
Yeah. Thank
Manhattan,
you.
for bringing that to our attention. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
Mass
right.
Panther says hello, so welcome to the show. And we did get the name change. It says Cat won't be on either. Like we said, yeah, Cat's away this week, so I'm sorry if you're not going to like the show because Cat's not on there. It's just us guys on here. But yeah, Cat had some other things to take care of. She rarely misses a show, so
Yeah.
it's important when she's not on here. But I
Yeah.
think we can do a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we managed all that time without you, Mike. So I mean,
Yeah.
it was rough. We missed our Spider Slayer, but yeah, we made it through. We'll make it a week without Kamakuno though, so we'll be all right. But hopefully you all can stay tuned through the rest of the show and keep us company. So yeah. All right, so we only got one more comic news story to talk about, which is the future of Archie Comics horror line. So they're diving deep back into the horror line. They got really popular with Afterlife with Archie, and kind of springboarded from there with the Hunger, Jughead, the Hunger, and
hmm
Vampironica and all that stuff.
hmm
But it looks like they're kind of leaning more into like Sabrina and that
hmm
side of things, which was not my favorite.
Right.
So I don't know how to feel about this, honestly. What about
Well,
you,
I
Mike?
I briefly read this article. I mean, Archie's never been my thing. I thought that the
Yeah.
horror stuff was a kind of cool and new and different direction for them. But there's a new editor, I think, now, and
Yeah.
and this is where these horror books are coming off of. And just being, as many comics as I read, I don't know if I'm actually going to be checking these out, but I always think it's a cool idea that they do something like this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with that. I love that they're, kind of leaning into a pocket that they had a lot of success with. I just wish it was more like those kind of books, like Afterlife and Hunger and Vampironica and stuff, instead
Right.
of Sorcery and Sabrina, because I just think the other stuff is stronger personally. But, maybe they'll prove me wrong, and these will be really good. So,
Mike Manhattan said Oblivion song is ending at issue 36.
oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't
So,
know that either. Yeah.
and Sweet Exorcist is on the show. He says, "Hey all."
Hey, what's up, Sweet? I don't think Sweet's been with us for a while, or maybe I missed his name. Cool.
And everyone is just saying hi. So
Yeah.
everyone's just starting to join the show. So welcome, guys.
Wow. No, did you? Mass Panther cat missing is like Michael Jordan skipping a game, pointless to watch. Gee, wow. I mean, there was
That
still
hurts, man.
Pippen.
That
There was
hurts.
still Pippen and Rodman, man. Come on, you
Come
know.
on, yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
wow. All right, but that's fine. That's fair. I don't even know how to go on from there, but I do. Yeah, we're going into some media news. So, first thing, we got Anthony Mackie to star in Captain America 4, which just seems like a no brainer, especially after Falcon and Winter Soldier. It just seems like this is absolutely where you need to go with this. And
Yeah,
if you didn't, then you're making a mistake.
yeah.
So good.
I'm actually excited that
Yeah.
they are making a Captain America. I was going to say issue 4, but Captain America 4 in general, because we had the show come out. I'm like, okay, so we're going to go Captain America from here. But that's a big deal. I mean, maybe the Disney Plus show just got a lot of praise, and they're like, hey, well, let's just go forward with Captain America 4. And, we have our Captain America. And I think that's great, man. It's just, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I really enjoyed that series. And whether it was going to be Bucky or Falcon, which I'm glad they went Falcon, but either way, it would have been cool to continue that franchise. And like you, I'm glad we're getting another Cap movie, so I'm
Yeah.
excited for it. Yeah,
Curious to see who would be the
the villain.
antagonist in this one. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously you don't want to go Red Skull. I don't know. Does Falcon have like his own villains? I
Well,
really don't know.
I don't
That's
remember in that run that he was Captain America. Like, I don't remember who the
yeah.
villains he fought, who they were. It's been so long.
Right. Yeah, I just remember because I didn't keep reading it. I remember at the front it was there was a big political thing going on in the book, and
Right.
I didn't follow on along with it. So it'll be interesting to see for sure. All right, so we're going to talk about the trailer, Mike. The big trailer, Eternals. There's a new Eternals trailer. So I didn't see this, so this is all you.
Okay. So it does look a little bit better. Like they actually showed a little bit of action, and there are some like pretty cool special effects, and they kind of explain that there's deviants coming to destroy the Earth, and like we're the Eternals, and we couldn't stop man from stopping the previous deviants. It's not in our way to object, so that's why they didn't stop Thanos, and Thanos is an Eternal, but he has a deviant gene inside of him. So that's kind of like what's going on there. And they have 7 days to stop whatever is going to go on. Again, there was nothing really special. Again, there was some special effects that made you like, oh, cool. You saw like a celestial in there, which I
Okay.
thought was kind of cool. I think that's like my biggest thing that I want to see. I want to see the Celestials on how they created the universe and how they're in charge of it and how quickly they can destroy, Earth because they have that power. But still, I'm like, it doesn't really excite me, and that's hard to not get
Yeah.
excited about a Marvel movie, especially a new one. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to see it, obviously, because maybe there's something there that I'm just missing. Or maybe it's because I just never been an Eternal fans and I just never like had this infatuation of being like, man, I got to see the Eternals.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we're getting a lot of mixed feelings about the Eternals in the comments, which is, expected. I think it's going to be very polarizing. I think they want it to be like on the level of Guardians, but it's just not going to be. So,
No.
yeah, it's going to be a much more subtle film, I guess, at least from what I've seen so far. So hopefully hopefully they're holding something back, and it just like kind of blows us away.
I think we see like I could have overlooked it, or maybe I did see it, but I heard it from somewhere. Because I got to, a lot of times when I see these trailers, I watch that YouTube channel, New Rock Stars, and they do like these Easter eggs, like things that you missed.
Yeah.
And they pointed out that I think Dan Whitman is in this movie.
Oh,
So,
okay. Black
but
Knight.
as
Yeah.
him, not as the Black Knight, obviously.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting, at least.
Right.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Black Knight come to the MCU. I think they could do some cool stuff with him.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. And speaking of trailers, are we ready? The He-Man CGI trailer.
Do you know what, though?
Yeah.
Let me get to this comment. It says, glad to see that Mike is still alive after he sniffed that comic book earlier this week.
Did look pretty bad.
Oh my God. That's the worst smelling comic book I've ever smelled in my life. I'm
going to talk to you about how well that video did, because just the worst smelling comic book ever. It's like, who goes around smelling their comics? Mike.
You open up comics, right? And they have this distinct smell to them, right?
Right. Just like a new car. Yeah.
Right. And it's just like, you go to a comic shop, you open them, and you smell like that fresh paper or whatever it is. It smells good. Then you got the old, worn out comics, and then you smell, and some of them are just musty, dusty, whatever it is. The one I smelled just looked like it's been closed for eons, and you opened it up, and there's some bad treasure in there, man.
Oh, man.
So bad.
That reminds me of we had a potato. We were going to make potato. We left it wrapped in foil for like a week and forgot about it. Opened that thing up. It was like, it smelled like dirty dishwater. We were like, yeah, we ain't eating that.
That's so bad. Oh, my God.
Anyway, He-Man CGI trailer.
So I got a question. What were you doing sniffing a comic, Mike? Check out my series every week. It's like every Friday, I think it is. It's called Dollar Bin Diving. So I go to the shop, I go dollar bin diving, trying to find key issues, right? You're trying to get those deals or find that, that book. You never know. And but then I try to find like off the wall books that you don't see or haven't normally seen, and get some of the roughest books. And I also I open them up, I look at them, I see how old they are, how beat up they are, and then I also smell them just to see how bad they smell. It's comical though. It's actually really funny because the reaction is weird. When you smell a book and you're like, oh, it's just different type of video. It's funny.
I was going to ask if it was glue or staples, because if it's glue, I mean that could be a whole different problem. Anyway,
so the He-Man Masters of the Universe. So I never even knew there was another Masters of the Universe show coming out.
I thought there was only one. I didn't know that they were doing the CGI thing on top of the other thing. Yeah.
Right. So I'm not going to lie. This looks better from...
Really?
Yes, because from what I heard about the Masters of the Universe show, people are very upset about it. I didn't watch any of it, but I heard it's basically a show about Tila, and it's not about He-Man and things like that. So people were upset because they felt like they were misled about it. Okay. But nothing for nothing, as a CGI show and kind of over the top, I liked it. I thought it actually looked kind of cool. Now, a lot of it doesn't have traditional He-Man. It's new characters, but they did have a mix of old. They got Skeletor. They got Orko as some kind of what looked like some emoji robot thing. But I don't know. It had Battle Cat, which looked kind of cool. For kids, I think it would be a cool way for them to get introduced to He-Man.
Yeah, I agree with you. For kids and people new to He-Man, I think it's great. It's kind of, to use an old word to kind of describe it, bombastic is the term that comes to mind. It's just over the top, exaggerated, but kind of in a cool way, and definitely a modern, new paint job for He-Man, which is cool. Not my thing. And I get you're absolutely right on your explanation of Masters of the Universe. That is kind of what happened, right. But at the same time, I loved it.
Did you?
And I thought, it made perfect sense why it was focused on Tila. But they get you. They get you a couple times. And it's like, it's so yeah. If you're wanting to see He-Man, specifically, you'll be disappointed. Right. But it was good. I thought it was really good, and I thought it was very in tune with what where the original went, but more grown up.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Gotcha. I'm glad you liked it. I mean, I haven't watched it, so I'm just going based off of what everybody else said, why they were so upset about it. But I just didn't want to throw this new one under, just throw it away either, because I think this is something that new people could watch. And, that, again, have never heard of Masters of the Universe before, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. That 2002 He-Man show is almost 20. Yeah, I feel you, Mike. I remember that show, too.
God dang.
We all
and
feel
yet
old
the
here.
Original one was 1980 something, 83, 84.
Yeah, somewhere around there for sure. Yeah. We're old. Let's move on. Ironheart is going to appear in Black Panther 2, which I think that's really cool. I can't wait to see that, actually. It's the perfect movie for, just because from a tech standpoint, it seems to make the most sense, especially with Iron Man being gone, that she would pop up there. So I'm looking forward to that.
Everyone better get their first appearance of Riri Williams book right now, because that book is going to skyrocket. I have it somewhere in one of my short boxes. I know I have it for sure. I have that Brian Michael Bendis run, and I also have that first appearance somewhere in there. But maybe I gotta find it, because I have a feeling that book is going to jump up in price big time, especially if she's going to be in the MCU movie.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it didn't. Yeah, absolutely. I think I have it too. I should have it. So we'll see. Yeah. All right. So we got speaking of movies, we got Black Canary getting her own movie. So Journey Smollett, who played Black Canary in what
Birds of
was it
Prey.
called? Yeah, Birds of Prey. I couldn't think of the name. But yeah, I kept wanting to call it Suicide Squad because it was kind of Suicide Squad, sort of.
I
But
never
anyway,
even
Birds of
saw it. The
Prey.
only way I did, like, is she worth the part, you think? Like, I don't know.
So I love the actress.
Yeah.
I've followed her. You know, since she was a child, she was like on Full House and different things. I've seen her in a lot of different things. That she
Uh-huh.
was in. She was in Lovecraft, or was it called Lovecraft? That HBO show that got canceled. Uh, but I like the actress. I wasn't a huge fan of that movie, Birds of Prey. It was okay, but she was pretty cool as Black Canary, from what I remember. I'd have to watch it again to be absolutely sure, but she seemed to kick butt pretty well. So, you know, I'm willing to give it a shot.
Gotcha. We have a interesting comment. Do you guys have a spare? Have a spare for a couple of minutes? Can you guys show the full design T-shirt you guys are wearing now with standing and full screen each other? By the way, nice T-shirts you guys have there. Thanks. We did this last week, right?
Yeah, yeah, but nobody wanted to see mine.
Yeah,
last
you were
week.
wearing the Marvel shirt. So I guess,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, go ahead. You got a Spider-Man shirt. I can
yeah,
see
yeah. I got
already.
in honor of Spider-Man. I got the full body Spider-Man going on there.
This was one of my first like comic book T-shirts that I got when I first started YouTube.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
This
one of my
this thing.
original shirts, like long time ago. That's how long I've been doing YouTube, and still nobody knows who I am. So,
This wait, nobody knows who I am either. This thing is like a size and a half too big. It's so baggy, but I wanted to wear a
oh yeah,
Spider-Man shirt. It's the
yeah.
only
This
one I
one
could
just fits
find.
just right. This one's pretty good.
Yeah, my other Spidey shirts are still packed, I think, so I couldn't find them. But anyway, that was the clothing portion of this show. We'll be talking about hair and makeup next. And there's no makeup here today, I don't think. Anyway, we've strung you guys on long enough, so now it is time to talk about the Spider-Man trailer. Spider-Man No Way Home teaser trailer dropped last night. Uh, Lots to talk about. One more day, maybe. We'll
Yeah,
see. Yeah.
yeah. That's exactly as soon as he went to Doctor Strange, and he's like, "Can you make him like forget that everybody knows me?" I'm like, no, they're not doing that here. They're not
Right?
doing it. Not pulling a one more day, except it's not with Mephisto in it. And then I'm sitting there going, wait a second. My son
Yep.
even said this. He goes, Doctor Strange is Mephisto.
Exactly. That's my
R-
thought too.
Right?
Yeah. I,
So,
I I saw some other theories like, oh, it's Loki. I'm like, how does that make sense? Why would it be
right.
Loki? Yeah. But yeah, I think that too, because it's like in one of the signs is like the I forget his name, is it Wong? It
Yeah.
tells him, don't do that spell, and he's like, I won't do it. We're gonna do it. And it's like,
Yeah. And he
yeah,
like
Doctor
winked
Strange
at
wouldn't do
him.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
think that might be, I mean, we could be wrong completely, but maybe it is him. Right?
Yeah.
So,
That
would
yeah.
you think of the trailer though overall?
I thought it was cool, man, because it one more day stuff aside, which I really hope they don't go that route. But him being outed in public, we got the Civil War treatment there.
Yeah.
He's totally public enemy number one. Now everybody hates him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cool, but the really cool thing is when reality starts bending, starts doing this Inception level
Yeah.
stuff. That looked really visually cool, and then of course the surprise of Alfred Molina as Doc Ock coming out. And it's like, hey Peter, and it's like, oh,
Like
okay,
it's
now
actually
I'm
true.
excited.
Like, but you got to see
Yeah,
other things in there, right? So you got to
right.
see, the pumpkin bomb. So you got to see
Yep.
that, and you also got to see sand and electricity mixing together. So
Yeah.
that was in there too. So now you're getting Sandman, and now you're getting Electro in there for sure. You're getting
Yeah.
Hobgoblin, Green Goblin in there, and then you're getting Doc Ock. So that's 4 of your Sinister Six, right?
Yep.
So who are we missing?
Exactly.
We're missing Scorpion.
Depends on which version. Yeah, Scorpion.
Scorpion, even Mysterio, but he's dead. But you never know, like, who the other 2 could actually be. And yet you never got to see, though, the other Spider-Man for sure. Like, you never got to see Toby, or you never got to see Andrew Garfield. So you never saw them.
But the fact that Alfred Molina is there kind of, it gives you kind of hope maybe that Toby is there somewhere.
Yeah.
Or will be.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what throws this different, obviously, like we said, it's a multiple of story or plot lines going on with Civil War, with One More Day, and then you got your own story going on with the movie. It's just kind of like, I just don't know where they're actually going to go with this. You got the multiverse thing going on too, so you kind of don't know. Like, the multiverse could be obviously the real draw, because obviously, like, maybe this leads into the, Doctor Strange movie, right? So,
right.
And you're being introduced to the true multiverse in this, based off of this Spider-Man movie. So maybe it is Doctor Strange, or again, maybe it's not. Maybe Doctor Strange is somehow stuck in the multiverse, and Mephisto is the one that's pulling all the strings right now.
Yeah, it's definitely quite possible, and I think it gave us a lot without giving us too much, which is perfect for a teaser trailer. I kind of don't want to see another trailer just because I want to be surprised by the rest of it, but at the same time, it's Spider-Man, so I'm going to watch another trailer. I even saw somebody, I forget who it was, but somebody said there might have even been clues towards Daredevil in there somewhere, kind of hidden. Yeah, I didn't see it. I went back and tried to pause it and see if I could see anything. I missed it if it was there. But, I think I think there's tons of possibilities for it. I would love to see, like, Miles come out of this whole thing. I think that'd be really cool. But I just think it's going to be a cool movie, and it's probably going to be one of the best Sony, Marvel movies that we've seen. So,
right. Here's some of the comments that it says here. Yeah. It says, who needs Mephisto when you're Strange? And then we did get a comment saying that Strange does seem off. It's Agatha all along. And then it says, in that case, why doesn't Spider-Man as Doctor Strange to bring Uncle Ben back?
Oh, ask. Probably ask. Yeah.
What else we got? Yeah, ask. Okay. Sand and electricity. This can only mean Glass Man. Maybe they shot fake scenes for the trailer. Don't know. Maybe. The dude interrogation room. I'm not sure what that.
The dude in interrogation. Oh, okay. You're talking about for Daredevil when Peter gets taken into the police station and somebody comes in with a bunch of paperwork. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, okay. I got you now. Yep.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
Let's see. They didn't show his face, so that's what he's saying.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. People are like, yes, for Daredevil. That would be interesting. Yeah. There would be a couple of twists in there if that was the case. If Doctor Strange is Mephisto, because everyone's been planning for him to make some kind of appearance in the MCU, whether it's on Disney Plus or a movie or whatever. It's for the longest time, and a character has not shown up at all, right? And then if you get Daredevil in there too, that would be pretty badass.
Oh man, it'd be so good. And then you're tying in all those, you finally tying in that side of the MCU with the Netflix stuff into this, and I'm getting excited thinking about it. But what does everybody in the comments think about the One More Day aspect of it? Is asking everyone to forget that he's Spider-Man how does that affect the MCU going forward? So like, does everybody forget? Like, does Happy Hogan forget?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's huge implications. Spider-Man's all of a sudden all alone.
And he was even asked those questions, and supposedly that messes up the spell, you know, or whatever it is. But he was thinking about it. He's like, oh, Aunt May's gonna forget who I am. MJ's gonna forget who I am. So it's like it does have huge implications. That's why I'm so hesitant that Strange is not Strange, because I don't feel like he would do a spell that has such huge consequence to somebody.
Yeah, especially when Peter's bringing this stuff up and he's like, hush, you're going to mess it up. And it's like, Doctor Strange would be more careful than that, I think. He's a surgeon, right? He's very precise. He's very meticulous. I think he would take every precaution, especially because like in the other movies, he's like going through every single possible outcome and finding the one that, you know, could beat Thanos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and he's not making a move until he knows that exact one. So this doesn't seem like that same person, right?
It doesn't. It definitely doesn't. Yeah. I mean, there's got to be something else there. Definitely has to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. But I was a little scared though about this one more day thing. I really am.
Yeah, this Scott, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name. I'm not a fan of it, but if you're going to give me Andrew and Toby, I'm in. I haven't been a fan of Holland Spider-Man. I mean, that's fair. Everybody has their favorite Spidey. But, you know, if they do bring those in, and obviously they're bringing in at least other characters from those franchises, it could be really cool. So,
like, so when it comes to all the Spider-Man movies, like, I like them in my own way, right? So, like, Tobey Maguire movies, I love those movies because those were the first Spider-Man movies, right? So those are like the originals. I loved seeing it. I loved seeing MJ for the first time, and I thought she was a great actress for the character, you know, at the time, you know, and they were great because that was the Spider-Man we had at the time, right?
Yeah.
And who knows if we were ever going to get another Spider-Man movies after that, right? So, not saying that's Spider-Man 3 was the best, right? But still, it was there. And then when it came to Andrew Garfield movies, I was like, oh man, this is not the same. Like his costume's different. And I just felt he was a darker Spider-Man, and I didn't like that. But I did like how Emma Stone did play Gwen Stacy in it. So I did like her as a character in there. So I thought that was kind of cool. And they had the lizard and stuff like that. And they were playing around with the Sinister Sticks, but it wasn't really right. So out of all of them so far, like those were my least favorite, right? Mm-hmm. And then MCU Spider-Man, well, it's MCU Spider-Man. They hit that character for me perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I think with Toby, it's kind of like that thing where certain characters are good in one part of the identity, but not as good in the other part. So I think Toby was a perfect Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Not as great as Spider-Man, but still, I have total affection for those movies, and especially Spider-Man 2 with Darkhawk.
Right.
I still think that's up there as one of the best. Because it was just every note in that movie was spot on, and I think it was really good. And I think Kirsten Dunst was kind of a mashup between Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane, so you kind of got the best of both worlds with her. So I appreciated that, but I really liked Emma Stone as Gwen. I agree with that, and I think Andrew Garfield was a better Spider-Man, if not a better Peter.
Right.
So between the two of them, but I agree with you. I think Tom Holland nailed both aspects of the character, and those movies are just fun for me. I absolutely love the Tom Holland stuff so far. So
right. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. Mike Mahan says, you thought Amazing Spider-Man was darker? I did think it was a darker.
He was broody.
Tones, I thought Andrew Garfield was a little like emo when it comes to him being, Peter. He seemed like this rebel kid, It just, I don't know, it was different. It was a different setting from going from Tobey Maguire, who was like this, up go-getty kid. He was, typical Peter Parker, and then you got like Andrew Garfield, who was completely different. Not saying I didn't dislike it, but it was just different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even the way they shot it was moodier and darker palettes. You had what's his name? Harry Osborn was a much darker character in those movies than Franco was. And not saying there weren't dark moments in the Tobey movies, because obviously there were, but it was just the backsplash of it was very bright and cheery and upbeat, whereas the Amazing Spider-Man stuff was very dark, moody, atmospheric.
Yeah.
So and I think the Tom Holland stuff is kind of in between the two, and kind of it's more bright, definitely, but it's it's got more of those serious moments too. So I think it's a good balance.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So
I'm going to watch the real trailer when it comes out. Remember, this is just a teaser. So I want to see the real trailer so I can see what these guys look like. Like, I want to see Electro, like real Electro. I don't want to see stupid Electro from that flipping Andrew Garfield movie. Like, I don't want to see that, That was a joke.
Do you think it's going to be Jamie Foxx, or you think they're going to bring in somebody else to be Electro?
No, I think it is. I think it is going to be Jamie.
It is Jamie Foxx? Okay. Hopefully it's just a better version of Electro.
I would want him to reprise his role so he can have an opportunity to make up for what he did.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think it was him. It's obviously the direction the movie went.
Direction, and he's just following that.
Yeah. I think he's a better actor than that, and hopefully he'll. Hopefully he'll do the character a service for the fans. Let's see. We got a comment from Terry Bond. Hey, Mike and Brant, I feel like we need a new villain that has not appeared yet for Spidey, like Kingpin. I mean, I think that would be interesting, but if they are going Sinister Six, they're definitely going to go with those classic Sinister Six villains. Yeah, Sticks. Sinister Sticks. That's what we're going to get.
We're going to put in Kindred in this movie.
Oh, God.
And he's going to be manipulating them all. It's Kindred that's actually Doctor Strange in this movie.
Yeah, of course.
And he's manipulating the entire Sinister Six coming through. There's your new villain right there.
That's why we've had this long comic run, because it was going to pay off in the MCU. Oh, we'll talk about Kindred later.
Tarantula. Yeah. We could get Tarantula in there.
I would love to see Scorpion. We haven't seen Scorpion yet.
No.
I think Scorpion would be really cool.
Like, we haven't seen him like in his suit, Like, we've seen him in jail, but we've never seen that.
Yeah, we've seen Matt Gargan. We haven't seen exactly. I think
I didn't mean the Vulture in that.
Oh yeah, the Vulture.
Group. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so you get Vulture and Scorpion. That would be cool.
And then there's your other two members.
Yeah, exactly. I think visually they could do some cool stuff with Scorpion. We've kind of did we see Shocker briefly? I don't remember.
He was in. Yeah, we did, and he was in.
Was it the Garfield one?
Was he in the Garfield one?
Or no, he was in with Vulture, wasn't he?
No, he was in the Vulture movie.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. So.
Didn't he get killed? I think he got killed.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Boomerang. We'll get Boomerang in there.
Yeah, let's get Boomerang. That would be kind of cool in there.
Yeah.
You could fit.
Let's just bring them all. Let's get Boomerang. Let's get
Let's just make it Sinister.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Yeah, that'll be fun. All right. So I think we've covered the trailer pretty well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kick
so it'll just be fun.
Attack said Vulture shot him with the gravity gun.
Oh, yeah. Overdrive. Overdrive's not big enough for the movies yet.
Yeah, he's still sealed.
Then he was replaced.
It's Hot Pete.
There you go. Shooting those glue guns so Mike can go around sniffing them.
Nice.
All right, we're going to move on.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so that was our trailer talk. So now we are getting into some big books and top fives, talking about those comics.
All right. Yes, we are, guys. So talking about some comic books. So any comic books that you guys read, just let us know in the comments below which one's your favorite, which one's your worst. We'll try to shout you out in the show. So big books, spoilers. Here we go. First book. Wow, we had to lead off with this one. X-Men Trial of Magneto issue 1. I hated this book. This is everything that I anticipated it to be. Boring.
I know you. Yeah.
Standing around, right? CSI, quiet council meetings, blaming Magneto for the death, him saying he didn't do it, and then a fight. Everything that I thought was going to happen happened. Very predictable. Way too long of an issue to get to the point. Artwork was pretty good. I'm not buying issue 2.
Okay, fair enough. And I agree with you. I think it did exactly what you said and what you had feared that it would do. It'd be a lot of talking. I think we could have truncated that entire CSI thing into 2 pages.
Yeah,
it didn't have to be half the issue, and it was to showcase every single character on Krakoa that could do something with this investigation, even if it was repetitive, which was a little annoying. So I think the art was really good.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I liked when Magneto was upset in the council and turned and crushed Professor X's helmet while he had it on.
To take off his helmet, yeah. He had to crush his helmet in order to finally see Professor X in this universe.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Which he looks like a young version of himself for sure.
Right.
But I thought that was because it was okay, there's the Magneto that we haven't seen in a while. That was one of the high points for me in the book. But aside from the art, I agree. It was kind of boring. And it's Magneto didn't do it.
Yeah.
You're not going to have this book if Magneto did it.
Right. Right. And the Scarlet Witch, she's not dead.
Yeah.
She's not dead.
She's somewhere else.
Yeah, she's somewhere else. And so everything the big moment, the only thing that really happened in the gala was that Scarlet Witch died. But she's not dead. She's somewhere else. And
yeah,
it's only natural that they're going to blame Magneto based off of the evidence that they found. And I would have loved something else out of this if it just wasn't so predictable, They could have called it the Trial of Magneto and then just been I don't know. Just too predictable. And that's what bugged me about it.
Yeah, and I kind of think maybe Scarlet Witch killed Scarlet Witch. I think it was a manifestation of herself out of guilt.
That's very possible. Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I got.
Just with all their powers and their abilities, they've got to figure out the crime scene. They got to figure out evidence. They got to figure out all these things, but yet they couldn't find out who actually killed her.
And here's my thing. So, do we not have a single time traveler in all of the mutants? Can somebody not just go back a day and see who did it? Just watch it happen.
Right? Yeah, there's definitely got to be a time travel guy, right? Who's the time traveler out there?
Exactly. It's just
they had Eyeball Kid, whatever his name is, right?
Eyeboy.
Yeah. He's got X-ray vision. He's got all these visions, and yet he couldn't see what was going on either.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Even them, they're it's they used metal to tie her up, and it's just right away they're they go to Magneto. God, give the guy a chance. You know what I'm saying? Right away they're just it's Magneto. Think about it. This is his own daughter, man. Why would he kill her? Right? Yeah. So I don't know. This is very frustrating.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. We do have one comment about No Way Home that I just want to talk about. Do you think they will answer in No Way Home who was the mysterious man lurking in the shadows in the Amazing Spider-Man movies? I always assumed that was supposed to be Norman, personally. At the very end when he was walking past the Sinister Six stuff when they were trying to set this up originally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always assumed it was Norman, but
I don't know. I don't have any idea, but it could definitely be Norman for sure.
Yeah. I don't know that they'll actually revisit that. because they moved on from that franchise.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So what's up next, Mike?
So next, after we talked about that. So now we'll talk about Nightwing issue 83.
Yeah.
Nightwing is a really good book, guys. I mean, I don't know really who's not reading it. If you're not reading it out there in the comments, let us know and we'll tell you to go read it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
be honest about it. We're not going to rag on you. We're just going to tell you to just read the book because it's a really well done book. Like it's very emotional. And this one really tugged at my heartstrings at the end of it. You know, it's like Dick is struggling to be a better person and he needs to find something to do with the money that he inherited. And you can see right away that he's a much different character. Like Bruce Wayne had billions of dollars, right? And his way of fixing Gotham was going out there and fight crime because, you know, people killed his parents, right? Gotta get revenge. That's how he felt like he could do better for Gotham. In Bloodhaven, Dick is going out there and he's saying, you know what? I am going to help by giving to charities, the homeless, things like that. I don't need all this money. I want to give, and hopefully this can help. Now, I'm not saying that um, money solves all problems, but the situation at hand is just like you get to see that he wants to be a better person. He doesn't want
Yeah.
all that money to build a bat cave or a super secret headquarters, or he doesn't need all of that stuff. You know, he can still be the hero that he is, living out of the apartment that he is, and do good for the community and also give, you know, share his wealth as well. And I love that. And I love all the character interactions. The fight scenes right from the beginning of this book was spectacular. It was action packed. The paneling is so good in this book also. And he continues to get beat up. He like passes out on the floor, wakes up 2 days later. And we get to see him and Barbara's relationship really growing, which I like. I like that relationship between those two. You know, it seems to be
Yeah.
an organic relationship. It doesn't seem to be forced. You don't see them all huggy, lovey, dovey together. It's just here and there they show, you know, emotion with each other. And it's just a fun book. And at the end, you see Heartless, who is just like, this guy's not going to work because he's, you know, he's taking all of his homeless people where he takes all the hearts away, you know? Such a
Yeah.
good book, man. It's awesome. It's such a great read.
Yeah, and it's amazing to me how much content that Taylor can pack into each issue, and yet it feels like a fast read. You know, it feels like not fast, not like, oh, you know, I need more, you know, value for my dollar, but like you just kind of flow through it. It's so easy to read that it's kind of not a chore at all, unlike Trial of Magneto, which we just talked about. But yeah, I loved everything about this issue too, and this book in general, this whole run. I love the relationship with Barbara and Dick as well, and the way that they kind of play with it. They, you know, there is that history between them, and there's always going to be that affection, but it's not like you said, it's not lovey dovey, and it's not, oh, you know, we're broke up, I hate you. It's just kind of like they're at a place where they're comfortable being around each other. They have that, you know, those romantic feelings still, but it's, I don't know, it's a comfortable place for both of them to be. And then you throw in Tim, and it's just this nice little kind of subsect of the Bat family just kind of banding together. And I think in this issue you got some MJ Peter vibes. In, you know, when she tells him go get him, Boy Wonder, I was just like, man, that feels
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It felt like a MJ Peter moment to me.
Yeah, I
So
could definitely see that.
yeah,
But overall, good book.
yeah,
We have a
gorgeous
man.
too.
What's that?
It's gorgeous too.
Yeah.
Bruce
Oh yeah.
Redondo's art is amazing. Yeah,
Beautiful. Emmanuel says, "Hey everyone, just jumped on. I saw the title. One More Day was such a terrible storyline, and I'm sure you guys already discussed this. Spider-Man books are still recovering, and Spencer is not helping. You make a good point there, Emmanuel. You know, yeah, we did just get done discussing about the whole Spider-Man situation. So if you can watch it on the playback, you can see what we saw. But I agree. You know, when it comes to Spencer's books, it's just, you know, I feel like Spider-Man has not been the best in recent years. And I think we're still trying to find that perfect writer for the character. And sometimes I look at the way storytelling is in comic books today, and a lot of writers go out there and they want to write one huge story. And I personally like stories when they're maybe 4 issues to 6 issues long, and then we move on to the next story. Because as a reader, you're forced to read that story, especially if you're a fan favorite of the character and you read it regardless. Well, now you're forced to read this entire run on something that you don't like, and you have to wait until the new creative team comes on. When you have a writer that writes in story arcs, then it might be a story arc that you don't like, but then it might get a lot better. And then maybe there's an underlining plot along the way and it leads up to something big. So I liked when we had comics more like that instead of these huge overarching stories like we do nowadays, right? They'll tell their one gigantic story and then they're done. What do you feel about that, Brant?
I I think it depends on the writer.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you get a run that you just never want to end, and you just want it to keep going on and on. But at the same time, those kind of runs ultimately end up with that writer not having anything else to say, and then it starts to get stale. Like we've talked about Bendis many times, how his runs start off really strong, and then if he's on a book for a really long time, it kind of starts getting stale at the end. I think the writers need to know when it's time to leave, when they've said all they have to say, and the publishers need to know when fans are connecting with the story or not. Now, obviously, that's shown through sales. So whether our opinion's right or not, sales are keeping Nick Spencer on that book. So I guess somebody's enjoying it. But yeah,
but
it's
he
like
is leaving it early. Now,
yeah, but
maybe it was because of Substack. You know what I'm
maybe.
saying? So
Yeah.
now you might, the writing's kind of on the wall. He probably got that deal and he's like, oh, if I'm going to join them, I have to leave Spider-Man early. So that could have very well be what it was.
Maybe it's I don't know. I think it's case by case with that kind of thing. You don't want to see somebody on too short. I hated the I think it was like the mid to late 600s of Spider-Man, or maybe 500s, where they had those alternating writers. Like somebody would write an issue or two and then
600s,
be in and out.
Yeah.
And I absolutely hated that. That frustrated me because you never got a consistent voice on the character.
Right. That's different. That's different.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind a writer and they write multiple stories, right?
Yeah.
And it continues to grow the character. What I feel with Nick Spencer.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. What I feel like Nick Spencer is doing, for instance, for The Amazing Spider-Man, he's written this one continuous story with Kindred from the very start. And what has he done for Peter Parker? How has he grown the character at all? Very little, right? Nothing has changed about Peter whatsoever at all. And so that's what I'm talking about. I don't mean multiple writers in different arcs. I like when one writer is on the run and they'll do multiple stories. So for instance, David Michelini on Spider-Man, for all the years that he was on Spider-Man, right? Look at, what he did there with Todd McFarlane, with Eric Larson, with all those other, artists and whatnot. And so that's what I'm talking. There's some great stories in that time frame, and you don't see that anymore. You see that very rare. Like Al Ewing with Immortal Hulk, his story pretty much is a consistent thing all the way through. He's maybe had 3 story arcs in the span of all his issues. And a lot of people will tell you that his story has fizzled out really strong in the first 25 issues. And then it's just, he's kept going and going and going because the sales were there.
Right.
So I don't know. But then you got people like, one more thing. Then you got people like Donny Cates, right? That did Venom, is currently doing Thor, but he is doing story arcs in Thor. He's breaking up certain stories, leading into a much bigger picture.
Yeah. So I completely misunderstood what you were saying. So I agree with you in that regard. Like that reminds me of Brian Azarella's Wonder Woman run that went like 36, 40 issues with that one story. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. If you're going to do an overarching story that kind of is in the background, that you throw little seeds into that and you're building up to something, that's different.
Right.
So then you can still tell your other stories and arcs and kind of grow the characters, throughout that, and then, circle back to that thing. I think that's a more efficient way and a better storytelling wise way to do that, rather than have that one story that starts in issue 1 and ends in issue like 70. Yeah, I agree.
Right. Gotcha. One comment here on the top, it says most writers want to tell their own story, not spend their time fixing someone else's story. That's fine. You can still tell your story, but personally, this is my personal opinion. Like, I just don't tend to gravitate towards a story that takes 60 issues to tell it and doesn't do anything with the character. Like, Spider-Man as a character has not grown at all in Nick Spencer's run. What has changed about him except that he's been being tortured by Kindred at this point?
Yeah.
Like, think about that.
Yeah, unless he ends up with Mary Jane. If they end up together and married or whatever, then there's been something at least. Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree with you. That's all it's been, because so every writer wants to leave their mark on one of these major characters, right? So whether that's through some kind of growth, some kind of change to them, or in Spencer's case, I think I'm introducing a new villain. And he's like put all his eggs in that Kindred basket, and I don't think it's paid off. So
gotcha. So, and then for instance, like, you want to talk about seeding things, who's perfect at that? Like Jonathan Hickman. He'll plant scenes, he'll put stories together, and then later on that plot just comes up out of nowhere. Now, I don't think it did so well in X-Men because things got messed up with X-Men, but he's known for doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, Avengers, when he was on the Avengers books and he started the multiverse thing, basically, with all the worlds collapsing in on each other.
Yeah, the incursions, yeah.
Yeah, and we saw, blowback of that continuously for years. So, yeah, I think that's a better way to do it.
Right. And how do you say his name? Radovid? He was just saying at us that he was in reference to Tevi asking about Marvel not removing one more day. Gotcha.
Yeah. Radio vid, I think it is.
And then Mass Panther says Hickman is too complicated to understand. Trust me,
he can be. Yeah,
he definitely can be. Like, when he does his own like independent work, it's like, if you don't know anything about stuff, you're just like, you can be completely lost. Like,
absolutely.
Like, I remember reading East and West. I remember, and at first, I really liked that book, and then it just started going all over the place. I'm like, wow, what am I reading here?
Yeah,
crazy stuff.
Yeah,
all right, so let's go. That was a good discussion, but let's keep going with the comic books, and we're going to talk about Radiant Black issue 7. So go ahead, start talking about it. I got to get a thing of water real quick, Brent.
Yeah, absolutely. So this issue, we get the full introduction, like, of all the different colors of Radiance. Now we've got the pink and we've got the yellow and the red, and of course Radiant Black all together. And this guy that was introduced last issue or the issue before maybe, is like hunting them down. And so they're battling him and trying to figure out what's going on and who these other Radiants are, is our main character trying to figure all this out. And in the process, they're just like teleporting. They end up teleporting to space, which they come into contact with a whole intergalactic war going on. And it's just like, okay, this world is a lot richer, a lot deeper than we've been made aware of so far. And now how's that going to impact everything going on Earth? And ultimately,
robots, like one of the robots that like sent out the Radiant Black
orb? I think so. Yeah. So I don't know if it's like a war between their, like, almost like Transformers Cybertron, like it's a war between two factions of something going on.
Right.
But it was very interesting, to say the least. And it turns out like all of these Radiants, they have different abilities. So like not they don't all just do the same thing. So like Radiant Black's the only one that could fly, and then like Pink could teleport. I forget what the other two could do, but I thought that was an interesting twist on it, that each one of them had a different thing that they mastered. So I mean, yeah, and then by the end of it, like the guy that's hunting them is just like out, and it's like, okay, that things didn't go well for him. So
Yeah.
what's going to happen there?
When they teleported out, he
Yeah,
was attacking them going down, and then he wound up
Right.
hitting the ground. And they're like, "Oh yeah, let's find out who this guy is." And they were calling him Glitch. That's what they were calling him, because
Yeah.
he glitches in and out all the time.
right.
I love this book. I thought it was really
Mhm.
action heavy.
Yeah,
Of that pacing, and I really enjoyed like some of the character interactions, especially with Black and Red, because he still shows that anger towards her,
right.
for doing what he did to his best friend, which is it Nathan? I think the
Yeah,
original
Nathan.
guy was.
Yeah.
So um yeah, phenomenal read. I look forward to this book all the time. It's so good.
Yeah. The panel work in this issue, because of the action scenes, was just, I mean, so dynamic. You had these kind of diagonal panels when they were fighting in the sky, flying up and down. It looked really cool. And there was there was a reference, because they ended up teleporting to Tokyo at one point, and they're like flying away, and somebody's like, "Which Sentai is that?"
Yeah.
Nice Power Rangers little reference there, so that was cool.
The little nod to that. That was great, man. It was so
Yeah.
awesome. Such a good
Yeah.
book. And it's funny because they managed to sprinkle in that humor in a book that was very serious,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
way to sneak that in there. I give him a lot of credit for that.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you get Marshall's little business ideas at those little shorts at the end. I think this one was trying to sell people on, what was it? Oh, some crazy concept that he had. I forget what it was, but he's always cool little 1-page, 2-page things in the back.
Right. Yeah.
Fun. Yeah.
All right. So pretty cool. All right. So you know what? I didn't even put any order of what my books were when it comes to the top 5. I totally forgot to do that shit. God dang it. Well,
That's all
anyway,
right.
Radiant Black was probably in that top 5 for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So let's go with your number 5, Brant.
I keep going back and forth between two books with this one. I am going to tentatively put Sinister War number 3 in there.
I would happen to agree with you. Okay.
Okay.
Because
it was better. Yeah.
Because you know why? Because Kindred wasn't barely in it. And
Right.
that's what made it better. And we talked about it last week about Spider-Man or Peter being desperate. And you feel that, you see that desperation in his voice as he's being attacked by all the sinister teams. And when he sees Black Cat, and when he sees the other characters in there trying to rescue him, which he thinks it is, and it's Mysterio, you can see just the dialogue and the words. He's like, we gotta get out of here. We're not going to be able to survive. We need more people than this. We got to go. And then you get to see him all bloodied up. He's badly hurt. And the only thing that's unfortunate, though, is like, I wanted to see him get beat up, and you don't really see that. You just know that he's experienced a lot of pain and trauma at this point, but you haven't seen it. It's taking place off panel, But I like that. I mean, that's basically what this issue was, right? It was a lot of that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that his inner monologue is like you said, his urgency to get out of there is kind of what kind of saved the issue, and also one thing that was like bothering me that I mentioned last time was Boomerang, and Boomerang actually sees him, kind of tries to throw everybody off, and then tells him to run. So it's like, okay, so
he feels
all
bad
that
for
you
what
invested. Right. So all that time we invested in Boomerang, it's not just for naught. At least there's something there, which I appreciated.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, and I think even Overdrive hesitated as well, and and Darkhawk even. Darkhawk had that little bit of hesitancy. So I think you're going to see some of that, come to play as this story arc kind of ends. So
Yeah, well, they're all manipulated. They're all being
yeah,
manipulated, so they don't really have a choice in the matter. That's what makes it stupid, because I hate that they're being controlled by this second-rate wannabe guy that's supposed to be the best villain ever created, and we gotta try to make him somewhat classic. So we make him Norman Osborn, or Harry
yeah,
Osborn, and it's just, when you look at what Darkhawk went through as Superior Spider-Man, and he wound up becoming like this young guy, and he gave up his soul, you know, to Mephisto because of just everything that happened in the past. And you know that he's been through a lot, and for him not to feel anything
yeah,
was kind of upsetting. So at least at that point, like you said, you got something from him there.
right,
So
yeah,
that, I agree. So that made this issue better, like the action and
absolutely,
those couple of moments there.
yeah, exactly. So you don't have yours ranked then, so
I don't, but it was
yeah,
in there. So like, I know I have
yeah.
like Radiant Black, I have Nightwing, Sinister War, Noctero is in there, and probably, actually, which I saw this was on your chopping block, but I actually liked King the Conqueror.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, interesting.
So we'll talk
All
about
right,
that. So those, I think, are in my top 5, but I didn't rank them at all.
yeah, all but one of those is in my top 5 too.
Oh,
So
and
I just have
Black
one.
Cat.
Black Cat's the other one, so
Yeah.
we would have probably the same top 5 then.
Right.
That's funny.
All right, so let's go forward. Let's talk about this book, which was a disappointment for me.
Mhm.
I wanted something more out of this. This was Batman Secret Files Clown Hunter issue 1, and all this was just him beating up this clown, and him talking the punchline on a phone, and she was giving him a deal, and he turned it down, and then Red Hood comes along and says, "Oh, you can team up with me. Batman's not even involved." He's like, "Oh, think about it," and he runs away.
Pretty much,
That's
yeah.
it in a
I
nutshell.
Yeah, it is. It really is. The whole thing with him fighting the clowns and being at Punchline's mercy was, yeah, it was kind of boring. It was one note. It was dragged out a little bit. I did like the kind of history of him and his and tying that into Gotham Academy, which I thought that was a nice little nod to
See,
that
I
place.
could say that I like that, but I really
Hmm.
don't, because we've seen that all before. He's
Yeah, that's
bullied
true.
in school. They kept on picking at him. He looked at him as a loser. And then one day he fought back and he said, "I ain't taking shit from nobody." But we've seen
Yeah,
that. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing really original about him that
yeah,
makes me go, "Man, I want to really like this guy." And now he's just being like, he just wants to be a rebel. And how many
yeah,
Batman characters are rebels? Like, you got Jason
yeah,
Todd, who right there, who's trying to recruit him, who is,
yeah,
usually on his own anyway, and is a angry person, right? And this guy is
yeah,
just like him, except smaller.
yeah,
So now we're
yeah.
gonna get
Exactly.
Jason Todd in Clown Hunter book.
Yeah, except for Jason Todd's not that character anymore. He's already changed his outfit. He's gotten rid of the gun, so is he even the same character anymore?
Well, he carries a
Yeah,
crowbar.
yeah, that's true. So
So
it.
he has a baseball bat with a batarang attached to it, and the other dude's got a crowbar.
Yeah, exactly. The Huntress one was so much better, and it at least tied into certain
To the
ongoing
story.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I would have liked to have seen that here
Mm-hmm.
as well. So it
I
was a little
really enjoyed
disappointing.
the Hunter story. That was
Yeah,
phenomenally done.
yeah, me too.
All right, so let's go forward now. Let's talk about Noctera issue 6. So, a lot of stuff went. So this is actually an
Mhm.
end to the story arc. Um,
Yeah,
so this is where we come across them leaving that sanctuary, trying to escape it. And they wind up doing it, and they run into that female other trucker that sends them out to do missions and stuff like that at the end. A lot of action, great artwork as usual. It was cool seeing the two brothers, like the brother that became the creature like destroy his own brother, which I thought was kind of cool. We still don't know who the big bad is or what he looks like. And now, what was I going to say? Oh, what I liked about this issue, though, is that, we always look at things when things go bad, right? We always look at things of like, where were you when this situation happened? And it's usually
Mhm.
like bad situations, right? And we never
Yeah.
think about where were you when this really good situation happened.
Yeah.
And they made it a point to point that out to you as a real person in this world. Like, think about when good things happen to you, like where you're at that moment in time. And I really love that message here.
Yeah, yeah, it was a really good message and a really good twist on that whole thing, and it's all about perspective, and I think that's a big part of this book is the perspective you take uh, as you're following the main character of the story. So you're seeing everything from their perspective and seeing both those positive and negative lights and which way you're going to lean into. It's heavy messaging that doesn't feel heavy. It just feels natural and organic, and yeah, I really like that too. And I like that they got down to the truth really fast here. It wasn't dragged out because we saw her, walk in on them, and it wasn't like, okay, they're going to keep them prisoner for 3 or 4 issues or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like over and done, and then you realize that like Blacktop Bill, there's more to him. He's got other plans, and you're going to continue that on from here. But there was also that feeling of family and connection. Like they flash back to the first time that she met that girl that kind of rescued them at the end of this issue.
Yeah, that was
Bellwether.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So you get all that, and it's just another really good book. One of the best ones I'm reading right now. So.
Absolutely, it's a great story. And then, like I said, Tony S. Daniels' artwork is so good in this book.
Yeah,
really explosive action, and just where it's dark, it's super dark, but yet you don't get lost in those dark details. Like he doesn't muddy up by a bunch of shadows. He just keeps going with it, and I love this book. So good.
Before we move on, a couple of Spider-Man things that I want to bring up. Tevia said, "What about Sin Eater?" We didn't talk about that. So like at the end, we had Sin Eater, and I think Moreland was in the background. A bunch of the big hitters. So another sinister team added
why
to the
is
mix.
Sin Eater got to come back again?
I know. It's like, and haven't we seen enough of Moreland? Come on, we don't need to see that.
Yeah. And I'm tired about your sins. You need to be punished for your sins. And it's just like, shut up about his sins. And oh my God, just enough of it. Enough.
I agree. And then just to answer this real quick, whatever happened to Anna Maria from Superior? I believe when Parker Industries shut down, she was out of a job. So no more Anna Maria in the story, right? Because she was working for
when Darkhawk became young.
Yeah.
He worked.
Oh yeah. Right. I forgot about that.
So
yeah.
So she still was around, but no one has written about her in a long time. So
yeah, that's true. I guess after that, and Darkhawk went back to being Darkhawk, she kind of faded away. I've forgotten about that series altogether.
Yeah.
So,
but like I said,
I don't know.
It's Nick Spencer's focusing on this aspect of Spider-Man, so you're not going to see those other characters right now.
Right.
All right. So we talked about Noctera. So what's your number 4, Brant?
My number 4 actually was Noctera. So
was it?
We just talked about it really was.
Cool. I'll make that my number 4 then. So it makes
all right.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Eat the Rich issue 1. I didn't realize that you did read this, and I did read it too. And actually, I lied. I got 3/4 of the way, and I put it down.
I wanted to put it down. Yeah.
It took too long to get to where it was going.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. It was I don't know. It's just not for me. It's this kind of book, and I think if we knew where it was going, it's obvious by the tone of it, by the title of it, you knew where this was headed. For it not to get there until the last 2 pages,
right?
that was kind of pointless. You should have gotten hints and clues to that early on in the book, I think.
Right, right. Yeah, it wasn't for me either. Like I wasn't even it like I said, it took too long to get to where it was going, and I just found it boring. And I'm like looking at it and go, am I gonna read another few issues of this? And I'm just like, I'm just gonna put it down now and not read anymore. I thought maybe this could have been something I like because I do like these darker books at times,
Yeah.
but this didn't excite me. Like I was just bored to tears by it.
Yeah, I mean it's all from the perspective of his girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
So she's coming into this. She's not rich, and they
Nope.
are, and she's
Trying
having
to
to
fit
meet
in.
all his family. Yeah, try to
Yeah.
fit in. And she gets told, don't talk to the help. That typical kind of stuff like that. But at the same time, like her boyfriend seemed like such a jerk. He's like, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what they're wearing." And then yet she keeps getting made fun of what she's doing and what she's wearing, what she's drinking, and he's not being helpful at all.
And I was just
And
like, I don't care.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you find like things are going wrong, like skull on the beach,
Hmm.
people eating other people. Like I was like, I think we knew that
Yeah.
based off of the front cover.
Exactly. Yeah. It was too drawn out for that. I agree. And I I put it as a half chop on my chopping block, but it's honestly I'm probably not going to read the next
Yeah.
issue. So, yeah.
All right. So we got Eat the Rich. We're not a fan favorite of that one. So what was your number 3?
Another book we already talked about, Radiant Black.
That's my number 3 too. Good job. Man, we're just like that, man.
Moving
We're
along,
just
yeah.
going. All right, so let's go forward. Now, if you said Marauders, I would be like, no.
No.
Because Marauders, this is the first issue of Marauders I read in about 3 issues. I missed it 2 issues in a row. I said, you know
Yeah.
what, forget it. I'm sure I didn't miss that much in 2 issues, so I'm
Nope.
just going to just pick it back up from here. And it looks like the same shit I've been reading 5 issues ago. Them
Yep.
still dealing with the Reavers.
Yep. Exactly. And that's why I was just like, so the only good part about this was the cuckoos, and they were very short in this issue. Right?
Yeah, they
So,
like threw that guy out the window and like made him commit suicide or whatever it was.
yeah.
Who's the chick though? Who's the blonde girl?
She was one of the what do they call those kids that were kind of the opposite of the Hellfire Club, the Verendi whatever. It was that group of kids that kind of took over tried to take over the Hellfire Club, and then they were behind all this. I don't remember exactly what they're called.
Right.
Yeah, she was one of them.
So is she going to Krakoa, or like what's she doing? Or is she just leaving?
I don't think she's a mutant, so I don't know what her deal is. Like she left their group, so she was like, "Don't contact me," all that stuff. So she's done with that because the Cuckoos kind of came to her rescue and helped her deal with her family situation. So I think she's just gone. I don't know where she's going now after that.
Okay.
So I was a little confused by that. Yeah.
But I was just like, man, the art has gone so down on this book, and they're still dealing with Reavers. There's like no real plot right now with this book. I just feel like it's at a complete standstill. So I was shocked when I still saw them doing that again. I'm like, man, oh man, come on, the Reavers, like this is the best we can do with this book.
I'm so sick of the Reavers. Every time I see them, I'm just like, I don't even want to finish it, honestly. And it sucks because I like Emma, I like Kate, I like a lot of the characters that they put in here. But this is the first time we've seen Kate in a while in this issue, and it was very brief.
There's very far and few moments like that really make you like this book anymore, and that's a shame. And this is the same writer that is currently writing X-Men. Now he could have had this story arc in the can, and he's saying at this time I have X-Men that's getting ready to come out, so this could be kind of a throwaway story for him until he gets X-Men going, and then he might tie in Marauders and X-Men more as time goes along. That's what I'm hoping for. So that's why I'm not dropping this book, because I think he can do that.
Yeah. I just I hate that, like the past, I don't know, 8 issues or so have just been that. It's been throwaway stuff that I don't care about, except for that one issue with Sebastian, where they beat the crap out of him. That was the best issue, and it hasn't been that good since, unfortunately.
Got a question there. What's that question? It's a big one.
Let's see. What are you guys' thoughts on Superman's son being written as an overall overture of driving only about material that children shouldn't read? I think it's just sad that actions are the focus. I don't know how to answer that.
So we
I'm
talk
not
about
quite-
John in the new book. Is that what
I
we're
assume,
talking about?
son of Kal-El. Yeah. So, I mean, he's not a child anymore. He's like 16, 17 at this point. So I don't know that they're purposely trying to show things that children shouldn't be reading. There's other versions of John that are out there where he is younger. There's the Super Sons. I think it's Digital First right now. Book where he's still a kid and hanging out with Damien. That's more geared towards kids. I think this particular series is geared towards more long-term fans.
Right.
So,
I heard, Strange Academy is a pretty good book for kids if you want to read that, right? It's
Yeah.
not bad. So,
yeah.
But I don't know. I was not overly impressed with the first issue of Son of Kal-El, but I'm going to give it a solid try to see where it goes.
I thought it was better than I expected it to be, which made me like it. So, because I expected it to be terrible, I think. And I actually enjoyed it. So,
did you?
Yeah.
I think it's just he's got to get away from Superman, and then it's going to get better.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So what did we just talk about? Oh, Marauders. Okay.
Marauders, yeah.
All right. You read Power Rangers, so if you want to talk about Power Rangers, go for it.
I'm going to keep this pretty brief because I did not like this issue at all, and the Power Rangers weren't really in this issue. So it was focused on 3 kids and the big cat that's been hanging around with the Power Rangers. This is the Power Rangers in Space book, so it's the one that Kat and I like least. But yeah, it was just about these kids looking for this relic or this temple or something like that, and it was kind of the history of this big giant cat and where it came from, and it was just like, if I just randomly picked up this book as a casual fan or even as a Power Rangers fan, I'd probably just say, yeah, I'm not reading this. So it was that kind of boring. Yeah, I did not enjoy it at all.
Gotcha. So. All right. There's the long drawn out Power Rangers talk. So let's move on to your number 2.
My number 2 is actually a book we have not talked about yet. Black Cat. Issue 9, I think it was. Yeah. So oh man, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this issue. So like, she's got Star. We knew that she kidnapped Star, and she just like brings her to her apartment. She wakes up. She's like offering her champagne and just kind of wine and dine her a little bit. And the banter between the two, as they're just kind of being both very very sly, I guess.
Yeah.
With each other and just kind of working out the plan. She's got a job for her, but she's basically trying to use her. And, Star's like, she uses her abilities to eavesdrop on Black Cat and the crew and find out this master plan. The stuff between Star and Felicia, I thought was it was brilliant. I enjoyed it every second of it. It was just fun, I
mean, Felicia trying to gather all these characters together, though, it could be dangerous, though, because what happens when you're all together with those powers, right?
Yeah.
So she's definitely taking a gamble trying to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're talking about a character that doesn't really have powers. She has skills and this bad luck thing that, obviously it's not really a thing, at least in this series. Yeah, so going up against like these Omega level, superpowered people, it's a huge risk. But Felicia's just like, yeah, I'm doing this. So it's like, I love Felicia.
She's trying to one up Fury on everything. So
yeah, and so far she is.
Yeah.
So and then she finds, she finds the other one. Yeah, I forget his name, but yeah, so she's got like, 2 of them.
She had the same way, and she's got him a bucket.
Exactly. Ends the same way, yeah. So I thought that was fun. This is just such a good series, and it's beautifully drawn. You get dashes of humor. Black Cat's always sly and clever like that, which
She's
makes
just done a great
sense.
job at giving her own voice. And that's
Yeah,
what's really
exactly.
good about this book.
Absolutely. I agree.
And I'll be sad to see it go because she's always been a character I really loved, but
Yeah.
this just adds to it, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
So good book. I can't wait for more. It's going to be a lot of fun that leading up to this whole Infinity Score. Like, is she going to have all the stones eventually? Like, if she gets the
Yeah.
stones, that is going to be crazy.
Did you? I did not read it because I'm behind on the Infinite Destiny annuals and stuff. Did you read the Miles Morales one?
Yeah,
You did.
stupid.
Okay. It
Yeah,
was that character from Miss Marvel, right? The amulet
yeah, the
guy.
amulet character.
Yeah. Okay.
His has been the
So
worst so far.
has
Everything
it?
that Miles is in seems to be the worst for me for some reason.
That's
Like,
so sad. Yeah.
yeah, it's just it wasn't even an interesting story. It wasn't. The other ones have been pretty good, but this one, yeah, this was a miss for me. But
Yeah. That's
again, Black
unfortunate.
Cat was really good. I enjoyed it. Love the artwork too. There's a lot of action. I just don't get how she uses this reality stone and yet she can eavesdrop on people. Don't quite get that.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't quite understand that either because that was almost like a magic spell. It wasn't like shifting
Reality
reality.
changing,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah. That was a little.
I've never gotten on how she uses her powers. Like even when Kelly Thompson wrote her, I get it in the beginning because she's new to the power, but now that she has the power, how do you eavesdrop on someone? It just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird to me. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. All right. So that was your number 2, right?
Hmm.
So let's talk about. I don't read this book. This is Shazam issue 2.
Yeah. This was it was okay. I know you don't read Teen Titans Academy anymore either. So this last issue tied real heavily into Teen Titans Academy. This issue it's kind of veered away and it's doing its own thing. But basically, it was just Billy and his friend Dane in hell at a casino and getting in trouble with the pit boss. That was pretty much the issue. So, yeah.
Are you gonna still read it?
I don't know after this one. No,
Really?
the only thing that they swerved you on was his friend, who's another classmate of the Teen Titans Academy, turns out to be like the son of the ruler of hell. So it's that kind of thing. So it's like, okay, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to depend on the week with this one now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Drop it.
yeah.
When we talk about next week, there's a lot of books coming out tomorrow or starting today, I guess, if that's what you want to
Yeah.
say.
Right.
All right. Next, we have King the Conqueror, issue 1. So, Kang is a huge thing right now. Obviously, everyone's jumping on the King bandwagon, trying to find back issues, trying to, read up on the character. And for me, I've never been a Kang fan. I don't know that much about the character. So the reason why I really enjoyed this book is that it's a good jumping on point for people that don't know the character and you kind of see a history of him. And I liked how older Kang is trying to help younger Kane learn from his mistakes. And basically it backfires though right from the start. And I
Yeah.
liked seeing that journey. I thought it was an interesting journey. And then you get to see him live through like the dinosaur age, and then he goes to the next stage of his life, right? So I
Yeah.
liked seeing that. I thought it was cool. Now, if you know everything about Kang, this is not for you. You're gonna find that this is just a rinse and repeat type of thing, But for me, it was new and fresh, and I liked it.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about Kang, but I think I was going into it hoping that somehow they were going to tie the Iron Lad stuff into it from Young Avengers.
Okay,
Um, and
and they still
you
might
know,
do that.
they might, and it was a fine story. I thought it was interesting the young and the older version of Kang together, and him even being warned of the path. He still followed the path. You know what I mean? So it's like he's still following the same pitfall. So still going to end up where he ended up.
Right.
And that's kind of how time works. So it wasn't that I didn't enjoy it. It was just that, do I need to read this? Do I need this story in my life with all the
Right.
other stuff I read? Like I read 19 books this week. Do I need to
Yeah.
read Kang issue 2? It's like, no, I'm okay.
Right.
That's
Right. I understand. That's just
yeah,
like, do you need to read, Shazam or Eat the
yeah,
Rich? If these are if
exactly.
these are books that you're not enjoying, then why pick them up, right? So
Right, exactly.
that's the thing.
Yeah,
Like today or tomorrow, whatever Wednesday it is, like I think I have like 21 books on my pull list this week. Like it's a
yeah.
huge week for me. So Kenneth's on the show, says, "Hey guys, sorry I've not been in the live chat lately. Catching up on my reading DC, Marvel, and indie books." Yeah, it's like you got to frantically finish your weekly books before new comic book day, so you're
Yeah,
caught up, right? I know what that's like.
exactly. Yep. Every week for me.
All right, so Brant, what was your number one?
My number one was Nightwing. So
Yeah, that was mine too, by far.
yeah,
I mean, it was
absolutely.
by far the best book I read all week. So we
Yeah,
agree
for sure.
on that. So with that being said, the chopping block, the books that we're thinking about getting rid of, Brant, you're half chopping Eat the Rich, but you're probably not going to buy it when it comes out. You're probably going to be like, yeah, no, I'm not buying that. Because I
Yeah,
don't want to waste the $3 or $4 that cost. Then
yeah.
Shazam, which is another half chop. And then King the Conqueror, which I'm still going to read, but when it comes to Eat the Rich, I'm definitely dropping that book. I'm not going to read it.
Yeah, as we talked about it more, I think I'm just going to move that up to full chop. Shazam, it's like because it's tied to Teen Titans Academy, and I'm still reading Teen Titans Academy. I kind of want to hold on to that, so I'm a little iffy on
Good
that
luck
one.
with
But the
that.
other two, yeah.
Look what Teen Titans Academy making you doing. It's making you buy other books.
I know, right?
And
Yeah,
it's not that good.
I know. I need to be a little bit stronger.
They have that Titans book the other Titans book is getting ready to come out, that mini series.
Yeah,
It's like 7 issues, I think it is, and it has the original Titans on there. So
that's true.
that's the Titans book that you're going to be wanting to read for sure.
That's absolutely true. So maybe I'll reevaluate when that comes out.
Right.
If I haven't gotten tired of what they've been doing in Teen Titans Academy by then.
Right.
I'm curious. Did you like Moon Knight issue 2 better? Or are you done?
I did.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did read it late. So again, I was falling asleep. And no, I'm sorry. I did not read that book late. I read that book during the day, and yet I was still falling asleep because that morning I had to do so much yard work and I was in the sun all the time and I was kind of drifting off by it. But I did enjoy it more because it had like more action. They were fighting. Wasn't he fighting like old people? Like, wasn't he fighting old
Yeah.
people? Yeah, right. Like they were possessed or something like that, if I remember
Yeah, it was
correctly.
the building's janitor was using his sweat to control all the people,
Yeah,
all the tenants of the building. Yeah.
that's right. So I did find this one a little bit better. So like I said, I'm going to continue it and see how it goes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I liked it. I think I probably liked the first issue a little bit better, but it was fine. I'm going to continue with it as well. So I was just curious.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to move on. I'll continue this, Brant, with the most anticipated. So I have Thor issue 16 that I'm most anticipating, and I think it's continuing this short story arc that's going on with. If I remember correctly, I think Thor like literally couldn't lift his hammer in this last issue. Like it was on his chest, right? It seems like it's been a little while since the last issue came out. I don't know exactly what else happened.
Yeah, I remember. Like, wasn't it Loki that came in and found him under the hammer?
Yeah, and he lifted it up, and
yeah. I don't remember what else happened in the issue either.
I can't either.
It has been a while. I don't remember.
Yeah,
did somebody find him in a bar and punch him? Was that last issue, or was it?
I don't remember
man.
because it
It's been
seems
too
like
long.
it has been a while. I'm going to have to obviously read the recap to remember what's going on in there because it was the first issue of a new story arc, and this is the second issue of that.
Yeah, let's see. That was issue 15. Happened in issue 15 of Thor. Somebody tell us out there because we don't remember. Let's see. The wounds of Donald Blake have not yet healed. Hell is afoot. All inhabitants are back in Asgard. Odin's presence returned from being away for so long. Father and son, all father and all father. Yeah, so Odin did return. You are remembering correctly with that. So.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Again, it's a short story arc leading up into the next story arc. The next story arc is like a 6-issue arc, and it's going to lead with the Hammer disappearing. Yeah. So that might lead into the whole teaser with Thanos holding that Mjolnir with the Infinity Stones. Maybe, who knows?
Oh yeah,
maybe that's where the hammer goes. So hopefully we're getting to that bad boy there, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now we move on to Robin issue 5. We're both looking forward to that. I think this is going to kick off the tournament now, right?
Yeah. I think it finally started because the last one to die was Ravager, and she got gutted last issue. So the tournament is underway now, and this book's been really good. Robin's whole journey and introducing the character. I don't know if anybody ever told you in your comments. I watched your covers. Flatline is that cover?
Yeah,
that character's name? Okay.
I could not believe I could not remember. All of a sudden, the image came up. Like I was doing it, and I'm like, who is that again? Like it just completely like escaped me, and I'm like trying to look for anything real quick to see if I could jog my memory. But yeah, they were like, yeah, it's Flatline. I like that character Respawn. Who's that Respawn character?
I don't know. It's a mystery. Obviously, they're a fan of Deathstroke,
right?
But yeah, I want to see who that is. I hope we get that answer in this book.
I'm surprised that character hasn't gotten a little bit more buzz than what he is. When it comes to like speculation or anything like that, like who he could be and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And he's the one that killed Rose.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in that last issue, because he's like, oh, now the tournament can start because everyone has died at least once. So I am super curious who that guy is.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
All right. So I'm looking forward to Something is Killing the Children, as we are getting to see that origin story of Erica Slaughter continue. Basically, she's going through the trials and tribulations of being part of the slaughterhouse, basically, or St. George. Very interesting story, and she's going through a lot right now. So how she comes out on the other side, I guess we'll find out in this issue. Next, we got Spider-Man Life Story Annual. So this one's kind of cool because we're bringing back Life Story. Chip Zdarsky's writing it. And then you get to see the point of view of J. Jonah Jameson in this issue. So I think that's kind of a cool way to bring this back and to somehow continue this story. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we all liked that one quite a bit. Of all the Fantastic Four one has not quite lived up to that, to that hype that Spider-Man did. But I think I was like one of the late come on. It was like I wasn't feeling it at first, and then it started getting really good. So I'm curious to see how they revisit as well. And telling it from Jonah's perspective should be very interesting too.
Absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to that. Then we have the return of Strange Academy issue 12. Seriously, man, it's been way too long for a book like this not to come out. And it makes it's very easy for you to forget about books because there's so many books. And when this came out and I saw it, and I'm like, holy shit, Strange Academy. I'm like, where's it been? And it's back. So I'm just like, cool. But again, we're in the middle of like a murder mystery. So why would it take a break in between of this murder that had happened, right? For talk. and you get to see the the revelation of what happened. Like who was the character? What was the boy that was behind it?
Oh, he's
He
the one
was
with the leather coat.
the jacket. Yeah, I don't remember his
Yeah,
name though.
I can't remember his name either. But yeah, he was the one behind it. That's I mean, that's what I remember that one a little bit more than Thor though, because it was a murder investigation, and I remember them piecing together
Right.
what's his
But
face.
see, that was a murder investigation that was done right. It wasn't
Yeah,
drawn out, right? They were like piecing him
yeah,
together. They got to try to find the piece, right?
yeah,
Because it was like if you don't find the piece, you can't put him together. You can't bring him back to life.
right.
And that was really good. Like I like this book, but I feel like it could be something more. Like there
Yeah,
needs to be something more to it than just I don't know.
yeah. It's like the it's fun following the kids and their adventures, and
right.
even with this murder mystery and everything. But there's no big like purpose behind it. It's just
Right.
like
Why does the
here's
book
a bunch of
exist?
kids in school. Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
is this literally what it's going to be? Right.
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
know.
It
It would
needs
be cool if
something.
they
I
had a
agree with that.
story, like
Hmm.
a story arc that kind of, puts their training to use.
Yeah. Or like, okay, this is the reason why they had been gathered to this school in the first place, because this big threat was coming or something like
Right.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
All right. So next we're going to talk about Wonder Girl issue 3. So we're
Oh,
going to get the return of this one.
so excited for this one. I love this
So,
book.
so she came back. She came back from Brazil in the last issue, right?
Yeah, I think so. So last issue, she was like issue one left off with her in the water, right? And
Right.
last issue,
She came
she was
out.
rescued. Yeah, she was on the plane,
Yeah.
right? I don't remember where it left off. Like did she meet some of the other? Like they were coming after her, the different characters from Wonder Woman. So like,
Yeah, I
oh
don't
god, I
remember
can't
this
remember.
either.
It's been a long time since that last issue came out.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's what
I
happens
think,
when these books don't
yeah,
come out on a regular basis. You forget what happens.
yeah, I think like her her resurfacing or her coming into power and stuff was some kind of threat, and like people like somebody from Themyscira, somebody from they were all over were coming after her, or
Right.
something like that. That's what I remember vaguely, but I know
Yeah, I
I
can
enjoy it when
remember.
I read it.
Yeah, same thing. I'll read it. I'll remember it when I read it. But
Yeah.
we know it's a good book. It's a gorgeous book to look at.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It's just that art just mesmerizes you and it draws you into it. And
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Like it's so, I don't know what it is that attracts me to the book though. Like
Yeah.
there's no small panels. You notice that they're bigger sized panels.
Yeah.
The coloring is just perfect. And it's just, I mean, she's drawn beautifully too. But it's just
And so expressive too. So expressive. Like
right.
every close shot, the expression on every character's face just tells the story.
Right.
It's brilliantly. It's
Yeah,
really good.
absolutely. All right. So got a couple people that are just joining on. So welcome,
Yeah.
guys. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about Black Widow issue 10. So now I think we're getting the conclusion to this particular story arc now, as they're
Yeah.
doing
About
battle
time.
against this like doing battle against this, what is Pachi character or whatever that's the name of it is, where
Yeah.
they've been gathering people and injecting them with stuff and giving them superpowers. And it's almost like a Gotham Girl and situation where the more you use your powers, the more you drain it out, and then you're going to melt and die. That's what
Yeah.
this kind of reminded me of. And so, and now they're really going to do battle against them and see what happens here. And the biggest thing that threw me for a loop in this book was Arana was in this book.
Yeah. I thought she was a nice addition to it. It kind of rounded out the team, gave it a little bit of a different vibe. So you got this whole team of Black Widow. I guess you can call her White Widow. I don't.
Yelena's in there, yeah.
Yelena, yeah. The new kid, and then of course Aranya. I really like this team. I hope that they continue with this team. It's kind of a fun dynamic.
Yeah,
So
this book is great. I always love
yeah.
this book. It's the action scenes are good, and
Oh
am I ready to move on from this story arc? Yeah, I kind of am.
yes.
But I like how we're building up a team together to see maybe what other adventures can come from this.
Yeah, I mean, this arc brought us that new girl, which I really like her spunk, her attitude, and she's just kind of a cool little sidekick for Natalia. So I like it for that reason. But yeah, this whole storyline has kind of been like almost like a superhero cult. It's like, you go in there, you take the thing, you get powers, or you die, melt in your chair. Fun stuff.
Right.
But yeah,
exactly.
I'm definitely ready for the next story, but I do really enjoy this book.
Yep, absolutely. It's got a comment in there. Saw the title. I don't think Spider-Man No Way Home would be related to One More Day. It would be based on a moment in time subplot of Peter going to Doctor Strange to have his secret identity being forgotten.
Okay.
So that happened in a moment in time, right? That did too, right?
Yeah, I guess it did. I don't remember that as well.
Either.
Yeah. So, thanks for the correction. I think that's somebody else had mentioned One Moment in Time as well earlier in the show. So okay. I just remember the Mephisto. The Mephisto is the thing you really remember, right? So that's like the thing that jumps out at you. But
right. I still think he might be Mephisto.
Yeah, I think it might be Mephisto too.
I just think he's out of character. A lot of the other people agreed with us in the chat, so we'll see what happens. Yeah. He has to say there's some kind of consequence to his spell. He'll be like, okay, Peter, you get whatever you want. He's not going to say, well, think about this. Like, you're never going to know about, think about Aunt May. She's not like, he didn't give, like, based off of that trailer. Of course, he only got 2 minutes of it. He never explained to him the consequence of this spell that he's going to use on him, So, all right. Next, let's talk about King Spawn issue 1. Brant's not going to be reading it, so he's not a Spawn fan, but I am. So I'm looking forward to this book as we're getting introduced to the Spawn universe. It's a $5 book. I'm sorry, it's a $6 book, actually, if you put $5.99 on it. However, after this going forward, it will be a $2.99 book. So this is just the introductory issue of this series. And I'm really looking forward to it, man. Spawn's been really good. I'm glad I jumped back on board. And Spawn really feels like a superhero type of comic book now, right? It's I feel like it's found its audience. It's found its way. It's got its sales. You would think it is a Marvel comic based off of its sales. Of course, better because it's been selling better than Marvel. So, so yeah, I mean, it's selling like 80,000 copies. It's just insane how much this book is selling. But when you have a book that's only $3, people are going to buy it, man. I'm telling you, I don't get the logic. I get that things go up in price. I truly get it, right? But if you had books that were more affordable, people would tend to buy it more because it's cheaper price, right? Or to save money on cost, you make less books and you make better quality books. And then maybe people could buy more also at $2.99. It's just, I don't know. Making more books and charging more money is not going to be the answer. That's not going to be it.
Especially for Marvel and DC. Other companies, we talked about this before. I understand a little bit more, but Marvel and DC, they're not making their money from these single issues, and it doesn't cost them that much to make these single issues. Right. So there's no reason to hike those prices up except for greed, honestly. But
right, exactly.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is, and that's all we can do about it. All right, next, Cable Reloaded, issue 1. He's back.
I only marked this because I'm curious. It's like I don't know how to feel about this one either.
So did you see the November solicitations?
I did not. What did they say?
I did do a video on it, so if you do want to check it instead of reading it, you can just watch it or listen to it.
Okay.
But they are releasing 30-year anniversary of X-Force, and it's called X-Force Kill Shot, and it's done by Liefeld.
Oh, don't say it.
Yes,
Oh
it
no.
is. And there's like
No.
8 covers, and they're all connecting covers. And it's a 40. I think it's a 40-page one-shot book.
Oh my God.
You're
No.
gonna buy it though. You're buying it because it's
Oh
X-Force.
yeah. I know it's X-Force, and I'm one of those suckers that has like 5 of those polybagged X-Force number
Yeah,
ones in my collection. So oh man, yeah, that's doesn't get me excited though. I'll say that, but yeah, I probably will.
it does. It looks like it has some of the original artwork, like on the
Oh,
on one of the
nice.
covers, and then it has all just individual characters on all the other ones. So
Right.
it's got like
Okay.
Shatterstar, it's got Domino, it's got Venom Pool, it's got all of them on these covers. So I don't know, man. I'll check it out though for sure, and I know everybody
Yeah.
else is too.
Oh, of course.
Oh, Major X is on there too.
Oh, great. So excited for Major X. More Major X.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
So
major disappointment.
let's talk about a real book though that you're excited for, and I am too.
Yes.
Finally, we got
my
Darkhawk
God.
coming back.
This is my number one most anticipated book right here. I am so hyped for this book. I don't even care that it's not Chris Powell. I just want to see Darkhawk back at the forefront. I think the logo looks cool. They put the amulet in between like the K and the H.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of neat. And yeah, I'm ready for more Darkhawk, and I want to see the differences with this character, this version of Darkhawk.
Yeah, and I think if this character takes, I mean, we could have a brand new series going on for in the
Absolutely.
future. So
Yeah.
hopefully it does. I mean, the concept of the character is cool. You just need to build that audience once again.
Yeah, yeah. Give them something, hopefully this book does that. It's like it just blows people away. I really hope it does that. So
I do too. All right, and that is all the most anticipated books. So before we close the show, of course, Brant, do you have anything going on?
do I have anything going on? Actually, I may. I'm still debating on this. I actually did record it, but I may be putting a wrestling video up over on Aftershock Wrestling Entertainment. I'm really into wrestling right now, so I'm kind of toying with the idea of bringing that podcast back.
No.
So yeah. So that video might go up this week, so you can check it out. You follow my social at Brant Fowler. I'll be talking about it on there as well, or at the Allcast.
Cool.
So.
Awesome. And then check out all his stuff over on lastember.com, guys. You can check out some cool comic books as well. Don't forget, that's what Brant does. He makes comic books. So that's what he does for a living. And
we actually have a release coming up soon called In the Land of the Dragon. It'll be launching next month if everything goes according to plan. So
sweet. Awesome. And then, of course, guys, over on Comic Book Corner 2.0 on the YouTube channel, guys, go ahead and check out my top 10 comic book covers of the week. That dropped on Monday. Today was my top 10 most anticipated comic books for next week. Tomorrow I'll have, I think, my 489th comic book haul. So
wow.
I think for my 500th comic book haul, I'm going to do a reaction video to like one of my original comic book hauls. I think I'm going to do
that would be cool.
Yeah, I think I'm going to see how bad I don't know if I'm that much better now, but I'm sure I'm better now than I was. There's original like comic book haul episode 8, then comic book haul episode 489. I can't believe
that would be fun though.
Oh yeah.
You gotta pick up something special for that haul too. You can't.
My God, I don't know if I can top what I just did though in my last haul.
Yeah, that's true. That was a big. I did watch that, by the way.
Did you?
I was like, man, that's I'm thinking, how'd you not break your back, man?
3 compendiums of Invincible, 1, 2, and 3, and then the Clone Saga. I was just like, I got a really good deal on those compendiums. And then the that omnibus, I was just like, I don't have any Spider-Man omnibus. I think I got one. So I was like, it looked cool. I was like, why not? I'll buy it, So I
Cool.
decided
Yeah.
to go all out that week. So it was cool,
Yeah, absolutely.
But
It
yeah, you
was a
guys can
really
check.
nice haul.
Yeah. And so you can check that out next haul tomorrow. And then on Thursday, I'll try to do a after the poll where I discuss some of my most anticipated comic books of the week. And then, of course, that all important dollar bin diving, see what I pick up at the shop this particular
See
week.
what he smells this week.
See what
Yeah.
smells there are, man. I swear, man. It's like, I don't know. Like, I was like, I don't know if I'm getting brain damage doing this stuff or like some person put a comment saying, you better watch for black mold. You don't want to smell those
Oh
pages. I'm
yeah.
like, oh, okay.
No.
You're smart there.
Yeah. Be
So,
hallucinating.
oh my God. There's some cool
uh,
comics, though, that I found. I found this cool, like, Green Arrow and Green Lantern book. I thought that was kind of cool. It was like
nice.
issue 90, but it's like all beat up. I found a like Journey into Mystery number like 10. It's all beat
Oh,
up,
nice.
though, too. But they're fun.
Yeah.
They're fun books to look at and have. And then I
Yeah.
can sell them later on in a garage sale or something,
Right.
if
Right.
it's not ones that I don't want. So it's just fun to do the
Exactly.
video with.
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
do want to share this real quick. That's the project image for In the Land of the Dragon. That's the book that I mentioned we're going to be
Yeah,
launching
that's a
next
cool
month.
image.
So,
That's really cool.
yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So,
All
all
right.
right, guys. So that's it. We're going to sign off for the evening. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, guys, if you have time, please subscribe to Comic Book Weekly and Comic Book Corner 2.0. Of course, you can hit that bell so you don't miss any notifications from us. And please, when you hit the bell, you got to make sure you receive all notifications. Otherwise, you'll only get some of the stuff, and you don't want some. You want all, right? You don't want to miss out. Then you got to give this video or in any of the videos that we do a thumbs up. You got to do all that stuff. And of course, you got the social media craze. These are what all the kids are doing these days. It's Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And of course, you already know we're on YouTube because we're doing this stream on YouTube. So there you guys have it. There is another episode of Comic Book Weekly. Again, hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week. Catherine will be back, and she'll be mad that I called her Catherine. And until next time, guys, this is Mike and Brant and Comic Book Weekly signing off. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Bye, everybody.